Everybody, welcome back to XJW Diaries. My name is Justin. So I just wanted to give you guys a small update on the upcoming protests happening in Washington, D.C. this October the 31st, as well as answer some of the common questions that came up from that first video. So for those that did not see the first video, which I'll probably delist after this one gets uploaded just to avoid any confusion. So what's happening is this October, on the 31st, there will be a group of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses as well as people from other high-control religious groups who will be holding an organized protest in Washington, D.C. at the White House. So keep that in mind, it's at the White House, not the U.S. Capitol. Now, the purpose of this protest is to, number one, put an end to the concealment of child sexual abuse in high-control groups and religious institutions. It is important that all governments and states are required to establish a mandatory reporting system for clergy to safeguard children. The second purpose is shunning or disfellowshipping in these groups deprives members of their right to religious freedom. Former members are often pressured to remain in the group to maintain their relationships with family members and social networks. And finally, point number 3 is to promote harmony, equality, and well-being for all human beings, and to safeguard the rights of children and religious members. The event is called Let Yourself Be Free in 2023. And you can go to the website befree2023.com to learn more information, to be able to see the permits for yourself, and also to be able to download these invitations that you can share with other people. Now, the website is still being updated, and I'm sure there will be much more information on there as we get closer to the event. So keep checking that website. And as new details come out, I will definitely keep you guys updated on my end as well. So as you can see, we have some very, very important issues being discussed, both from people who are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, as well as people that are from other high-control religious groups. And of course, if you've watched my channel long enough, you already know the child abuse issue is the thing that contributed the most to me waking up. Both the two-witness rule and the fact that known child abusers are not being reported to the police presents dangers to both Jehovah's Witness kids as well as non-Jehovah's Witness kids. How is it that Jehovah's Witnesses can say they have love for their neighbor, and yet they allow known pedophiles to avoid jail time and avoid having to register as sex offenders? Both of which allow these, again, known pedophiles to continue working at schools, use community swimming pools, and work as nannies for people's kids. And they do all of this to keep their organization looking good. This is a clear loophole in the system that needs to be closed. So once again, the event will take place on October 31st, 2023 in Washington, D.C. at the White House. We're taking these issues right to the president's doorstep. So now I wanted to answer some of the common questions that came up from the last video about this event. I had a chance to talk to the person organizing the event, and I was able to get some direct answers from her. But before I do that, let me just quickly give a big thank you to all of you for the enormous amount of support that last video received. I know the person organizing the event was very, very happy to see all the support. And I think you guys have thoroughly proven that this event will be a success. So I just want to thank you all. And I also want to once again send my gratitude to the person that is setting up this event. You know, when you leave the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Watchtower wants you to feel as isolated as possible because they know that if we come together and do things like this, there's power in numbers. And suddenly these people that they tried so hard to silence now have a very loud voice. So now I'll get to some of the questions that came up from the last video. And thanks again to the person organizing this event for taking the time to answer these questions. So the first question that came up probably the most often was, why hold the protest on Halloween? So the person organizing this event gave a couple good reasons. So the first reason is that Halloween itself has some significance because that is the day that Charles Taze Russell, the creator of the Jehovah's Witnesses, passed away. Now, this event is not to celebrate his death. We're not sick people. It's more symbolic of the fact that October 31st, 1916 saw the death of the father of the Watchtower. And now October 31st, 2023 will bring a major death blow to the Watchtower. She also said that another side benefit of having it on Halloween is that this allows people who are PMO, physically in, mentally out, an easy way to participate while also protecting their identity. Since on Halloween Day, people are already wearing costumes and masks to begin with. And that gets me into the next question that came up, which is, what should people wear? Because we're talking about serious subjects here. We're talking about child abuse. We're talking about religious freedom. Some people had expressed that it wouldn't be appropriate to wear typical Halloween scary mask, things of that nature, at an event like this. So to answer that question, this is not the Watchtower. We're not the governing body. So nobody's going to tell you what you have to wear. That being said, we're all adults here. I think it's kind of self-explanatory what would be appropriate and what would not be appropriate for an event like this. So another question that came up is, who is organizing the event? So the person would like to remain anonymous. And if you have left the Jehovah's Witnesses or any religion like that, I'm sure you can think of many reasons why. So that being said, I'm going to continue to do everything I can to be a messenger and help get the word out about this event and give you guys any updates as they come out. That way we can continue to protect this person's privacy. So another question that came up is, why are permits required? And this is because the event is being held in front of the White House. So the person organizing the event did have to get permission and permits from Homeland Security. So another question that came up is, how many people can come? Now, the original permits were written up to allow up to 1,000 people. However, the event organizer spoke to Homeland Security shortly after my first video went out, and the person from Homeland Security told her that there's enough room to actually have several thousand people as long as we keep it safe. Another concern that was brought up is that the senators will not be in office that day. And that concern is probably in response to the information that I gave in my first video about this event. So in that video, I said that the event will be held at the US Capitol, and that is incorrect. The event will be at the White House. So yes, the senators will not be in office that day, but that is entirely okay because we will be at the White House anyways. So the next question that I saw come up a few times is, why announce this event so early? Doesn't announcing this event this early allow the Watchtower to retaliate in some way? So for starters, she definitely wanted to start getting the word out about this event as early as possible, just so people could have a chance to know it's coming and be able to save up for it and make travel plans and get the time off, especially since October 31st is on a weekday rather than a weekend. So she wanted to give as much notice as possible. That way, as many people as possible can attend. Now, in addition to that, I'll also add on and say that if you're worried about the Watchtower, you got to remember that, yes, the Watchtower had a whole lot of power over our lives when we were witnesses, an insane amount of power. But out here in the real world, I'm just going to say it like it is. These guys are kind of nobodies. They don't have any real power out here. So in this event, we are using our freedom of speech, and the permits are already in place. The deed is done. The Watchtower cannot do anything other than make sure that their court witnesses are not on that street on that day. So another question that came up is, how do you join the event? And that's pretty simple. All you have to do is on October 31st, 2023, just meet us in front of the White House. Another question is, can I come if I'm not an ex-Jehovah's Witness? And the answer is you definitely can. Absolutely. This event is for more than just people who have left the witnesses. All right, so save the best one for last. The last question, what will be the outcome of this event? Anytime you have an event like this, there's always going to be some people who will rightly wonder, what will really be the outcome? Will this actually change anything? And of course, the answer to that is it's really impossible to know what the outcome will be until after the event has already happened. But realistically speaking, if you just think about it, you have a group of 1,000 plus people gathering in front of the White House. Sections of the road and sidewalk are blocked off for this event. Now, I think it's fair to assume that with a scene like that, you are definitely going to get some attention, specifically media attention. Anytime you have a big group like that gathered in front of the White House, there's for sure going to be some news cameras. And with that media attention comes even more exposure as they broadcast this event. And from that exposure, you now have people who are active witnesses who see the news report, and they now have to ask themselves some serious questions. And you also have people who have never been Jehovah's Witnesses. And these people have no idea what's going on in this religion. All they know is that Jehovah's Witnesses go door to door and they don't celebrate holidays. But now these people are going to have a much higher awareness of what's actually going on in the Jehovah's Witnesses. This is one of the big reasons that I do this channel in the first place. Now, to go along with that, I just want to once again share that quote from Edmund Burke, because it just fits so well. The quote says, "The only way evil prevails is because good people do nothing." So with an event like this, here we are doing something. And so we can practically guarantee that something, no matter how small or big, something will happen. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you are looking forward to this event, and hopefully this event is even more successful than we can even imagine. But until then, please take it easy on yourselves, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.